What is going on, everyone? Philly Insider Podcast. I'm Hunter Doyle here from Inside the Eagles, and we've got another prospect interview today. Samori Toure, 2021 NFL draft prospect. Congrats on getting here, man. Being a draft prospect in and of itself is a massive accomplishment. So just tell us a little bit about how you're doing, man.
I'm doing well. Back home right now in Portland, was training at Exos in San Diego, had my pro day. So now I'm just kind of, back home waiting to see how everything shakes out.
Awesome, man. Glad to hear that. Exos, great people to train with there. I know a lot of draft prospects train with them, so that's great to hear. And just to read off a few of your accomplishments, man, PFF had you on their All Big Ten team. You were the 2019 FCS First Team All-American, FCS playoff record for receiving yards in a game. So you've accomplished a lot over your past few years, man, at Montana and Nebraska. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about your journey to the NFL draft thus far?
Yeah, so was under recruited out of high school. Didn't have a lot of offers. Had an Air Force, and ended up getting Montana. Right before signing day, and it just felt like a good fit for me. Um, Went there redshirted as a freshman, but then as a sophomore, I got on the field, started to have some production. Then had a coaching change going into my sophomore year, and then sophomore year, I moved from the slot to outside receiver. So my sophomore year was a little bit of an adjustment phase for me. And
Sure.
then obviously my junior year, put up great numbers. We had a pretty good run into the playoffs. And then, after that season, once COVID hit, I was forced to make some decisions and decided to transfer to the FBS level. Ended up at Nebraska and, had a great time there as well.
Yeah, awesome. And how do you kind of feel your time at Montana prepared you to take that next step, going to the Big Ten and then getting ready for the draft now?
Yeah, Montana, definitely prepared me very well. Like I said, first of all, making that transition from slot to outside, being able to be, a versatile receiver, play both inside and out. And other than that, just, building myself up as a player, both as a player and a person, getting that experience, learning good practice habits, good work habits, and how to stay organized and take care of business off the field as well. So I feel like in all those facets, it kind of prepared me to go to the FBS level and succeed.
Absolutely. And you talked about playing inside and outside. Did you end up playing more of the slot this year at Nebraska?
Yeah, so I was playing more slot at Nebraska. That's kind of just what they needed with Wan'Dale Robinson leaving in that transfer portal.
Sure.
But I ended up playing a good amount of outside as well. So, but yeah, I was mainly in the slot last year.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you kind of talked about that versatility. I mean, just talking about, doing anything a coaching staff or an offense needs you to do, how important is it to just be able to move around there or like maybe play in the backfield at some points or, chip a defensive end if you're helping in pass protection or play on special teams?
Yeah, that's something that's very important. I feel like, creating a job in the NFL and creating longevity is about doing whatever it takes to help your team, whether that be special teams or being that fourth, fifth receiver, you know, being in the backfield as well. It's just about what can you provide for the team.
Absolutely. And I want to take it back. You talked a little bit about, being under recruited coming out of high school and just kind of your journey up to this point. Does that kind of give you a chip on your shoulder and motivate you a little bit more? Or do you kind of feel that you're already pretty motivated going into every Saturday or Friday night game or Sunday games coming up?
Yeah, it's something that, keeps me motivated. Always, I've always had that chip on my shoulder, and I feel like I would have it even if I wasn't a highly recruited guy. But you know, it, being motivated and having confidence is two of the most important things, and I feel like those are two things that will always be with me.
Definitely. Yeah. Can't go wrong with confidence. You got to have plenty of it at the receiver position with those corners standing on the other side of you. Those guys got
Right,
confidence, a lot of confidence. Those guys got to be cocky. So,
right.
but yeah, I mean, just talking about your coaching staffs at Nebraska and Montana. I mean, you talk about Wan'Dale Robinson, who's also going into the draft this year, who's a very good slot receiver. Like, what are some of the things you kind of picked up at both schools from, just a receiver standpoint, whether it be just, release packages or, sinking hips at the top of the route, like little things like that. Like, what are some of the biggest things you kind of learn to take this next step?
Yeah, all those things. I learned basically everything I've gotten up to this point, you know, at Montana, just the little things. You know, that's one thing that they kind of stress the importance of there is just the details. You know, because there's a lot of good receivers. You know, both at the FBS and FCS level, but like this little things are going to be what sets you apart. Like you said, getting in and out of your routes, making sure you catch the ball with your hands, knowing where to be and when to be there, finding that little spot in the zone. Just kind of like the little things that'll set you apart.
Definitely. I mean, everyone can have size and speed, and that's great measurables, and you can try to coach that up, but I think the technique and fundamentals will always give you that longevity in the NFL as well as versatility. So
Yeah, especially when
yes,
you get to the NFL, everybody's has size, everybody's fast,
yes,
everybody's similar. So it's about what's going to separate you from everybody else.
absolutely. And talking about another aspect that separates you, walk us through your kind of film study process a little bit each week without, yeah, obviously you can't give away too much, but
Yeah.
what are some things you look for, and did you kind of see a little bit of a jump at the Big Ten level going from FCS, or was it still pretty complex and still a lot to break down?
There was a little bit of a jump, especially kind of like in I would say the speed of the game, but I would
Sure.
say it's not as big of a jump as you would think it is. You know, everyone asked me going from FCS to FBS like how different was it? Like it was definitely different. You know, it's the Big Ten, but especially at the skill level position, I feel like there wasn't that much of a difference. You know, bigger guys, maybe more athletic, but I feel like the biggest difference is probably that front seven. You know, O line, D line. That's the biggest difference between the FCS and FBS. But I was able to make that transition pretty smooth.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it all starts in the trenches. That's where the game
Right.
starts, and those guys set everything up for everyone else, whether it be the defensive backs or whether it be you guys at wide out, and then just giving the quarterback time to get you guys the ball. But talking a little bit more about the NFL and going to the next level, are there any wide receivers you kind of try to pick and choose from the game? I know you probably spend a lot of time breaking down your own film and how you can get better, but are there any times where you kind of look at some NFL wideouts you want to pick parts of their game and implement into your own?
Yeah, I look at all the top wideouts. You know, I feel like especially as someone who wants to be in the NFL, you got to look at who's already there and who's successful and why they are successful. So, I take bits and pieces from all the top guys, Davante Adams, Keenan Allen, Stefon Diggs, just guys like that who get open. It seems like so effortlessly, and I just kind of watch their film and see what they do to create separation and get open. And all those guys are very pure route runners that know how to get open and know how to make plays when the ball comes their way. So those are all good guys that I like to study.
Yeah, those are some good names to study for sure. Especially, we talked about size and speed. I mean, I know Keenan Allen didn't run the fastest 40 time, like you said, effortless. I mean, it's not really about
Mm,
speed with him. He still gets
right.
separation just because of his footwork and technique and everything he does. So we also mentioned special teams a little bit. What units do you play on, and what do you kind of contribute in that aspect of the game?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm a player that can really help a team when it comes to special teams. You know, like over my college career, I haven't, had a crazy amount of special teams reps, but I've definitely been on special teams. 2017, I was a kick returner. Have done punt return here and there, but I feel like probably gunner is where I would be most helpful for a team. I got the speed and you know the quickness to get past someone defending me and getting down there and trying to force a fair catch, as well as kickoff too. So, I feel like I'm someone that you can plug in a lot of different places in special teams and hopefully be successful.
Very valuable for sure. I mean, especially playing at Montana, I'm sure you were a little more featured and probably didn't want you on special teams as much just to
Yeah.
keep you fresh. But the fact that you were still able to play there and get experience early on is huge. I think that's something that I mean, there's always a couple of special teams guys who get good contracts every offseason. And then if you can contribute on offense or defense in addition to that, I mean, you're really set up for a good career there. So kind of talking about, again, going into this next season, what are some of the aspects of your game that you really think you want to kind of hone in on and improve? Now you're working on everything, but are there any few
Mm.
things you're kind of looking at saying like I really want to try to work on this aspect of my game?
Yeah, I would just say being keeping my body frame low,
Mm.
when I'm playing, because at the college level sometimes you can get away with being high up, but in the NFL is going to be different. You got bigger, stronger guys who are going to try to get in your chest. So that's one thing I'm working on. And other than that, just probably my yak. I feel
Yeah.
like I have pretty good knack for getting yards after I have the ball in my hands, but that's something that's super important at the NFL level, and it can change the game. So that's something that always needs to be worked on.
That's an excellent answer. I mean, leverage, like the trenches, leverage is kind of the name of the game in the trenches and everywhere else too. Whoever can get lower and win that battle. And yeah, as far as yak goes, I mean, even just in short spaces too, if you can just break
Right.
free for a couple extra yards, that could be the difference between,
Right.
first and goal at the 10 and first and goal at the 5. So
Hmm.
little things like
No
that
doubt.
always come back. Yeah, it's huge. So I want to ask you, I know you're a busy guy, so I want to just ask you one more question here. Um, if you had a chance to just say to NFL teams what they're getting in Samori Toure, what would you say to them?
I would say they're getting an all-around receiver. Someone who's gonna work hard and, like I said, help the team in any way possible. And I just think any team that gets me, I'm gonna be a positive influence on that team, not only on the field but off the field as well. I'm a vet in this, so I'm gonna handle my business when it comes to the playbook, and it comes to how I carry myself around the locker room. So uh, they're getting a guy who's gonna put in a lot of work and hopefully make the team better overall.
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of guys who don't come into the league with the right mindset there in terms of just being a pro and being a vet. I mean, if you can be like a vet as a rookie, that's massive going forward. And off the field, I'm excited to see the work you do wherever you end up. So, I hope it's my Eagles. That would be awesome.
Yes, sir.
I really do hope so. But is there anything you want to say before we sign off here, Samori?
No, it's all good. I appreciate you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate you so much. So best of luck in the draft process. We're looking forward to seeing where you end up. And I'm going to be rooting for you wherever you go.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one, Samori.
Yep, you too.